Hey everybody, how are you doing tonight? I hope with that you can notice that I got a new mic. It's all set up and I hope it's gonna have a lot better quality. I gotta get used to having it in front of my mouth instead of my old headset mic, so excuse me if I do mess up every once in a while, but um, I think it's gonna be a big improvement. And also I just noticed that my internet has decided to go bad right as I'm starting to stream, so I apologize there if there's some dropped frames, but it seems to have leveled out now. Also, I finally set up a webcam. Oops, let's close this. So yeah, hi everybody. I hope that this will also make it a little easier to chat with people, so. But yeah, let's get to programming. We're gonna keep working on animations tonight, specifically halting actions during the game. We've been working on this for probably a week or so, just because it's gonna combine the action and basically the rest of the game systems, and I'm trying to get caught up a bit about where I was yesterday. Okay, so yeah, we're not doing that yet. Okay, so this is what actually calls the Lua script here. Oh yeah, so we messed around a bit with some of the components, so we're gonna need to update those before we can actually test anything. But also I can see the script manager needs to set up or implement some of these functions. So here the move function. Okay, so yeah, we pulled this code out of the what was it called? Yeah, just the actions class here on the Lua interface. Used to we had this do move function, but instead all it does is call these and then inserts this action into the Lua interface's action list, because if I remember correctly, the mods need to know about an action immediately once this function's called, even though it doesn't actually take place in the game for a little bit. So that's what this does. But then this do move function is actually most of the magic, and that's right here because yeah, we set it. Okay, so first it needs to make sure that we can actually call this function at this time, because we don't want to try to be setting actions outside of the correct Lua function. Let's turn on the music a bit. Yeah, please tell me if the volume, how the volume levels are with my new mic. I'm not exactly sure how it will sound, but we'll see after tonight, I suppose. Okay, so yeah, if we are in the right time, we can go and actually create the game action. Set the type and the player. Okay, and then we just make sure the monster isn't null and it's valid. And then we make sure the position isn't null and it's valid. Okay, and then we return the Lua game action. Okay, so that's not that difficult. So is valid time to call. If we look at the animation script manager, we really just need to do something similar to this. Okay. Ever since I updated, well, Windows basically forced me to update it yesterday, and ever since then, it's been a little slower, so I do apologize for that as well. I hope it won't cause Unity to take 5 minutes to compile, but... Okay, so yeah, I need to get this function because this is the script that's currently running. And from that, we'll be able to get these asynchronous script options, which will just have something new here, allow actions, I mean. Yeah, let's just create it. I'm not sure if that will work right away because... Oh, it did. Yeah, see, this is a flags enumeration instead of just a simple one, so basically these need to be shifted one position over if you think of a number as a binary number. And so here it's 1, 2, 4, 8. And that way we can add all these together and store them in one number. And that's what we're testing there. So if allow actions is set here and also in options, then it'll return a non-zero number, and that's why we test if it's not 0. So I think that's all good. I need to get this handling script component. Okay, so that's all fine. The active player. I'm not sure how we would know that. I guess... yeah, let's look and see. So here, does it know the active player? Okay, it does. It's in the parameters and the turn selection. But I don't think there's any way... okay, so really it needs to store this information somewhere in this async script so that the player will be attached to the script. Auto... I think I'll just need to store something else in here. Maybe I could just do a turn selection. So this will be the current selection. It's a little... I don't know, it's a bit hacky to have to store this, but I don't see any other way that we can attach this selection to a script. And then here in the tracking, I guess it would just need to also store that turn selection here. So let's see, wherever we create this. Okay, so yeah, so I just need to pass it along here. Current selection equals args current selection. My internet's deciding to drop frames again. I don't know why this happened right as I started streaming. I do apologize. Hopefully it will level out. Okay, so here, well now we already have this, so we can just return the handling script current selection dot player index. And now here, we also just need to set the current selection to what was in the parameters. Oh, that's it. And one other thing, also we need to set allow actions here in the options. I guess I'll just add another new line there. Okay, so the last thing we have to do is this add action. And I guess what we'd... so we have the animation sequence and the turn action, so we just like insert it into the turn actions, wouldn't we? Yeah, because they're given in order and we already sorted the selection, so it's not like we'll need to sort everything again. I think it should all be fine. That's pretty simple. Okay, so why did I need to know... oh, I need to know this sequence because we need to insert an action tag into this animation sequence to know that we'll actually play this action at this point. So add new And the type is action. And then the index is the turn actions list actions count -1. Because we just want to add the index of the last action we just added. Okay, so why is it doing this? I think it's not like I increased my bitrate. No, I think it's just my internet. Let me check something. Settings. Nope. Okay. I don't know if that will help, but we'll try it out. Alright, so we're good here. Oops, I just moved it around. Okay, so after this runs, and we'll insert the action there. So here in the action logic, so the action creator is what actually calls the Lua function. Okay. Yeah, so we need to update this. So here on the actions complete. Alright, so the result doesn't actually give us back anything we need. Because at this point we were storing the actions for this specific call, which isn't really needed anymore because we just insert it in immediately. And then we are just adding them to the list. But now we don't even need to modify the list. Yeah, so I can just delete this function because everything's already built by this point. And then we just set it complete there. Okay. Okay, I'll leave this. Down the road, I want to change it so that we don't assume that there's one selection per player, so we'll probably need to edit some of these, some of this code here, but I'll just leave it for now. Okay, so I think when this says complete, we've hooked everything up, and at least the action logic should all work. There's a couple more things we need to fix here. Let's go ahead and check it. Oh yeah, so this class I just deleted because we don't even need it anymore. A lot of this stuff I think is because I don't have this generated order actions anymore. I just use a specific variable for that. This music's been a little loud. So what did I call it? Not the stored animation sequence. Okay, all turn actions is what I called it. I don't need to do that. It's not even a variable, it's just a component. Okay, action list. This would be local actions list. Okay, and then this is going to make sure that the actions... Okay, yeah, so this is checking the actions that we got back from the server against the actions that we know we generated to make sure that they're equal. So I'll leave all this for now. And the finalizer, here's where we actually send everything to the server. Okay, so this is get component. And then we just send the list, because toNet message will convert an action list to the message that we send to the server. Okay, it just hasn't caught up with me yet. And then here, these are the after turn effects. I think we can do this. Again, after turn effects are just other actions that run after all the player actions have completed, and it's for things like if somebody was poisoned, they would take damage. So it's like actions that don't really have a player that initialize them. Okay, so we don't have to worry about that, but we will clear. So really, I just need to have this turn effects work almost, or the after turn effects work very similarly to the actions creator, so it'll also have the animation sequence. I think the only reason it has this is because it needs to clear it before it calls the Lua functions. Let me check. Yeah, that's the only thing it does. Okay, and okay, so this is going to be the same actually. The results won't have a list of actions. And it won't have a selection, it would just have the after turn effect index. So I would just set this to null. Okay, and here I can also enable actions. I don't have to change anything else in here, I don't think. And so here it doesn't add that. Okay, so I think we updated this, except the script manager. If the current selection is null, then we'd return -1 because there's no player. So handling script. Current selection is null. Yeah, because this must be an after turn effect. Okay, and if I don't know, if we need to know the actual like after turn effect index at some point, I can change this to be the after turn effect index, but I think we should be okay with that. So I think I fixed all these errors now. And so yeah, Unity will probably take a little bit to compile. Well, that didn't take as long as I feared. Alright, so let's go ahead and play and see what happens. I think that we will get an error when it tries to run the script because I, for instance, haven't implemented set facing. So, yeah, that's a new error. I don't know why the camera changes when I try to select something. Okay, object reference not set to an instance. Let's see what this is. Do move is null? Let me see. Do I not... Let's clear some of this stuff out. I set it right here. Maybe I don't actually create this class. That would be a problem. No, I do. Do I create this class? No, I don't. Okay, so that's the problem. So in play flow, go to the play subcontroller, and we'll just set it to create actions script. Okay, actions generation script manager is what I called it. No S. There we go. Okay, so now it's going to need to recompile. And unfortunately, we can't just test it in play mode, so I have to restart the whole thing over. Alright, so let's try this one more time. Now that time the camera didn't pan all over the place. I wonder what causes that. Okay, so another problem, but it actually tried to add an action right here. Okay, so yeah, now set facing is null, which I knew. But that's good, we got all the way down to here. Now, let's just create the set facing handler, so... Okay, I guess I'll put Lua at the beginning of all these. So Lua set facing function handler. Let it create that. Okay, so I think I can copy a lot of this code. We're going to need to do the same type of validation for the monster at the very least. In fact, we're going to have to do that so often, maybe I should move it into some static common class, but I'll worry about that later. Get the right namespaces. Okay, so this will be Lua set facing. And, oops. Just wanted to copy that. And here I think this is actually a dynamic value. Oh no, no, it's just a facing. I was going to say that we could allow an angle, which would be a float, but not in the game logic. It needs to have a specific facing. Like northwest, northeast, for example. Okay, so if we want to change this to set facing, which I need to implement that action type. Okay, there we go. Wondering why that error was still there, but it was because I had forgot to update this function. Okay, so first we need to check to make sure this variable is not null, which would be nil facing passed to set facing. And I don't really think there's any other way that the facing can be bad. I guess if this value was invalid, but I don't think that can happen. So I think we're good. Okay, so the target index for this would just be the integer form of facing, so facing value. There we go. Okay, so I think I already have a set facing value for that. And we want to have a target position. We'll have target facing. Oh, I already set that up. I think we're all good to go. Yeah, I don't need to change this at all. Okay, so I'll try it. I think when it actually gets to the point where it's going to try to execute the actions, it's at the very least not going to play any of the animations, but it might even have some errors. I'm not exactly sure what will happen, but we'll find out. Okay, so there's an error. Null reference. Set. Oh, you know what? Here I didn't add the constructor for the set facing handler. Oops. There we go. Okay, it's gonna have to recompile again. I need to remember to close this before I recompile because it always takes it longer if I leave the game running. And let's try it one more time. Hopefully I didn't forget another silly thing. Okay, there is another error, actually two. Okay, action failed to execute, set facing. Okay, so it actually did get all the way down to the execution phase, and yeah, so it moved the player and then it tried to do set facing, which doesn't exist. Also, that's fine. Also, obviously it didn't play the animations in the order it was supposed to. So that will be our next thing to do. So we've done that, and now the action executor needs to play the sequence. Okay, so we're done with that section for now. Okay, all this does right now is just tries to execute the actions. Okay, does it take... It does one a frame, I think. Oh, no, it does like this message. Let me see. Okay, so yeah, this manager is the thing that actually controls everything. It just tries to execute one action every frame, looks like. Which is fine, but now it actually needs to go by the animation sequence. So let's see. We have the final ordered actions, which don't really need to use. I can use my old all actions. Let's see. So the error checker, what it does, yeah, is it takes our actions and makes sure that they're exactly the same as the actions we received back from the server. Although it seems like just set them here. Even though we've already checked to make sure they're equal. So this value, I guess I just was trying to keep it separate, but it's not really needed. I think I'll go ahead and delete it because it's just adding a extra variable that's just going to complicate things. So first let's close all that, and I'll go to the definition and just delete that. And the final actions, I'll just delete, and we'll just have everything use the local actions. Can the local actions be... Oh yeah, so if my actions is null, then that means we didn't send any actions, okay. But I think we can always just trust the actions that we've generated. I mean, at some point we might disconnect. And what would happen then? We need to get the actions list from the server, which is what this is trying to do. Let me see. So I'm trying to think, if we disconnected at some point and we're trying to catch up with the game on the server, then we'd actually have to get the action list from server. And so we couldn't use our own list, but I think if that ever happened and we lost our list, then everybody would have to exit back into the lobby to catch back up anyway. Like if somebody crashed. So I don't want to try and solve an issue that's not going to be an issue. Yeah, because the only time we would lose our actions and the server would be ahead of us is if we crashed. And yeah, so if we just disconnected, we'd still have our actions in memory. And so we could still compare what we receive from the server with that. So yeah, I think this will be okay. So yeah, we just don't need that final actions variable, which is here. We basically are not even going to use the actions that the server sends to us because they're going to be exactly the same, but we still want to make sure that nobody else is cheating. So we want to get the actions that everybody else did and make sure that they're all equal. All right. Okay, so now, where was it? Where was I? The manager here. Yeah, so this final ordered actions doesn't exist. Instead, we'll have all actions. Oops, that's not what I meant to click. That's not what it's called, is it? All turn actions. Okay, and we can get rid of that. Oh yeah, and I gotta change this to get component. And okay, so here, yeah, we're just looping through the actions, but we actually need to loop through the animation sequence. So I need to get the animation sequence as well. Where is that? Is it just, I think it's called stored animations. So let's see if okay, I did type that right, first try. So now we can just get that component as well. Okay, so what's it not like about this? Oh, yeah. Need to change the name of this. Okay, so I guess I should change this to sequence index. And how it will work is that we'll look through the animation sequence and play that one by one. And then whenever we get to an action in the sequence, it will actually call this function. Otherwise, we need to tell the scripts to, or tell the animation system to actually play an animation. So how do I want to do that? I have this function which has, or this class that has a reference to everything. And instead of making the execution manager have to get a handle on each of these animation messages, I think I'd rather it just get a handle on this commander class. But if I'm going to make it public, I think I'll change it to that, to animation commander. Let's rename the file as well. Okay. Now how will I get a reference to this is the other question. Maybe I'll just have a query that's like execute some animation. So controller claim query. Well, we wouldn't return anything, so it'd just be a message actually. So subscribe to message, and the argument would be Let me see, what would it be? I guess I could just make it an index and then it could get the index out of the sequence. Here, no, I actually send the action in this message, so maybe I'll do that. Yeah, because the animation doesn't know anything about the animation sequence. Okay, so this will just be a stored animation. Okay, so play stored animation. And the message archetype needs to be a command so that there can only be one subscriber. Do I want to have a tag so that I could have another message that also sends a stored animation as the argument? Probably. Okay. Tag play let's play stored animation. Okay, so now I just need to generate that enumeration and generate this function. Okay, yeah, that should be fine, but it doesn't want to... Okay, there it goes. I just had to update. Okay, so I'll take care of this later. I want to finish up the execution manager. So it needs to have another message claim here. Stored animation, play animation. Controller. Okay, we'll claim the message. And what was this? I think I called it play stored animation. And the message archetype I have to set to a command here as well. Okay, so every frame it's going to try and do this. I will let know. Okay, so the execution manager, yeah, it's going to need to know when an animation finishes in case a wait has started. But it's actually the script manager that does that. Well, I already have this query, which is request ready. But the thing is, the execution manager doesn't know about these asynchronous open requests, so I need to have another query that sends an integer that checks if a specific index is ready. The async request is for our coroutine system, which we use outside of playing actions. And I have to do it separately because, again, actions have to be... I mean, they're not run right away. They're run after the server has received everybody's and everyone's made sure nobody's cheating. Okay, I guess I will need to tag this. Okay, so, is animation wait handle, or let's just call it is animation wait complete. Oh yeah, I forgot a parenthesis right there. Okay, so again, I'll generate this enumeration and I'll generate this function once Visual Studio catches up with me. Okay, so this will be the wait index. And we'll basically do the same thing, except we'll use just the weight index directly instead of using this request variable. And then I guess I'll go ahead and change this to just call is weight complete request index. Okay, so that's relatively simple. So nobody's going to need to get this commander class after all, so well, I won't rename it, but I'll make it private again. Okay, so now it needs one more handle to the outside world. It'll have... Okay, it receives a boolean and it sends an integer, and this is animation complete, and it'll just call this every frame until it knows that, well, whenever it needs to see if an animation's finished playing. So use query bool integer, and then what did I set the tag to? Animation, oh yeah, is animation weight complete. Okay, and I need to change this to query handle instead of just query. Okay, so now we're ready to run this, I think. In fact, I'll just delete it all, because that code is, well, oops. Accidentally undid too far. Some of this code we'll still use, so yeah, if it is if we're past or finished with the animation sequence, then we'd want to complete the or signal the rest of the game that we're done. Okay. And it just clears that. That's not needed, so I won't bother with it. Okay, so I guess how this will work is we'll check if the sequence index... Well, we need to do like a do while. So I'll leave the loop. Outside of this function. Also, yeah, this can even happen during a frame, so let's do it this way. For int I equals 0. Oh wait, we can do it. Sequence index. I don't even need to declare it actually. So sequence index less than animations count. Okay, so then I just execute sequence entry. Okay, so this will never increment the sequence index, so I think this will be fine. But we'll need to know if we have to break, so if this returns true, or let's have it, if it returns false, that means that it's waiting on something. So if it returns false, then we'll break the loop. Okay. And then here, if the sequence index is greater than or equal, then we'll send this on complete. So I don't need any of that, but I do want to copy this, so I don't have to rewrite that code. Okay, so here it's, let me just copy that code before I run anymore, or write anymore. Switch. Move that over a bit. Animations index. Okay, and we have the type. Okay, so the weight is the most important one. And here we would just return actually instead of breaking. Because we returned that is animation complete. Oh no, not that. It's... Yeah, we should really pull this value out into another variable because I'm going to need it. There we go. Now I don't have to type animations.nms index every time. Okay, so here the index is the wait handle index, so if, we just need to see if this one's complete. And if it is complete, we return true, so then it would loop to the next one. Okay, and then if it's an action, then we would just return true. But first we'll need to call this actions list. And it's not the sequence index, it's actually the animation.index. And then if it's anything else, then we'd return true. And we need to call play animation. Yeah, so I think that's it. Oops, sorry bumping that. I have a feeling I'm going to need to get used to having the microphone cord. I wonder if there's a better way to set this up. But anyway. So basically, if the stored animation is a wait command, we wait to see if it's done. If it is done, then it'll loop around. And if it's an action command, then we send a command out to actually execute the action. If it's an animation, then we send the command to play the animation. So here in the commander, let's implement this function now. And it's going to be similar. So stored animation dot type. Okay, so let's do this one first. And in that case, we would just call the set animation parameter on the stored animation command. Oh, right, and that's an object, but we just can cast it, no problem. Okay, so it's basically going to be the same for each. This class already has the references to all the messages to the game classes that actually do these animations, so it's just easier to handle it here, I think. Alright, and the last one is rotate. Oh. There we go. Okay, and then if it's any other type, then that means it should have been taken care of before it was actually sent here. So we'll just throw argument exception. Not handle this animation type. But this should never happen. If it does, then it's my fault, not the mod's fault, so I'm not going to throw a play exception, because that usually means it's the mod's fault. Alright, I need to get a drink of water just a second. I guess I don't have to say that anymore because you can actually see, but... Oh, my internet's dipping again. I apologize for that, but it seems to have bounced back. Gosh, I don't know. Of course, the first day I get my new setup, it has to act up. Okay, so... that's all good. The only other thing I wanted to do is in the classes that actually execute the play actions. Right here. I wanted it to... so right now it just sets the position, but it doesn't actually set the position of the monster in the graphics overworld. It only sets it in the data. And I'd like it that whenever you call this game action, it should synchronize everything in case some animations gotten everything out of whack. So let's go ahead and try that. So I have a message for all this stuff. What did I call? I think it's in the animations position command. So set UX position. So yeah, here it's moving the monster. Oh yeah, so this was the old command that used to do this, but I think we can get rid of it. Because that's really old code. So first of all, this, yeah, it sets, okay, so it executes the action, and it has to be in another class because this can run during the loading scene if we're trying to load a save game. Because how the game actually handles it is the save file keeps a log of all actions that have executed, and so we want to kind of separate the pure game logic out of moving from anything else that happens in the play scene. So that's what that does, and then if there's no error, then we add this action into the save file. And it's at this point that will also set the UX position, so let's get that. Controller, claim message. Let me just copy this so we don't type it out, although I don't know which was faster. Okay, I don't need to get anything else. And I think this just needs to know the monster and the position, so that should be pretty easy. Okay, it needs to know the model, which is just, for now the model ID is the same as the monster ID. And then the position, is that an index or a vector? Okay, so it's a hex position. That makes it even easier. Hex position from board index. Okay, so we don't actually have the board variable right now. But we can get it. We need it because right now the active position is just given by an integer, and in order to convert from an integer to a hex position, which is basically the 3D vector, we need to have this battle basically so that we can have the size of the board. But it's not like it's difficult to get, so it's not a huge deal. So action dot target index. Oh, I actually have the board first. And we're done. And again, the point of this is just so that whenever we set the monster's position and the game logic, it's synchronized with the actual graphics, in case the animations have brought it way out of whack. Okay, so let's go ahead and play. I know there's going to be an error because I didn't implement set facing action executor, but we'll take care of that. I want to see how far the game will get. Already an error? Already claimed exception. Oh. Okay, that's not going to be useful. But here it's because I need to pass the message archetype. Message. It's a command again because there can be many claims and only one receiver. Okay, there it goes. Okay, so no errors now. Yet, anyway. I know there will be one, but hopefully we can actually see some movement first. Nope. Action failed to execute. Oh, you know why? Okay, I think I know what happened. Well, first let's look at the debug and see what the animation sequence is. So it must have... Yeah, so we crashed right here because trying to play set facing. But even though we had waits, it didn't actually wait, and that's because the script manager didn't... Like this outstanding coroutine request didn't get filled. So is... Let me see. Animation wait handle release. Did this... That didn't throw, did it? It should have, though, shouldn't it? Maybe this isn't the error. Action failed to execute. Okay, let's get some debug logging here. First, I think in stored animation, I'll make a toString. Override toString. Oh, forgot the dot. Okay, so this will be animation type index. Do I want to have that command? No, let's not do that. That's going to be too much. Okay, and then here in the manager, when it calls this execute sequence entry, we'll debug it. So debug. Type Unity engine. Debug log. I'll do, oops, type the string, or yeah, the quotes too quick. I want to have a frame number at the beginning, so time, oh, I don't have Unity engine. Oh gosh, having trouble typing right now. There we go. Time, frame count, and then we'll have, I guess I'll move this down because we get the stored animation variable right there, so no reason to type out the list access again. Alright, so let's see what that spits out. It should tell us a little bit about what's going on. Because I'm surprised I didn't get a specific error from the script handler, because it's supposed to tell me if an outstanding wait command did not run, but it did not throw that error, so... Okay, so it received... That's not what I was looking for. Okay, so yeah, execute animation. But I got an error before that. Okay, so there the animation was released when not outstanding. But why did it keep running even after the error was going? Or after the error was thrown? So here we enter the execution. So I want to execute set animation parameter, and then rotate, then wait, and then animation parameter. But yeah, so it just skips the wait because it's supposed to stop here. Okay, so obviously something's wrong. Let's actually have the index here as well. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Index. Yeah, so here it very clearly has wait 1, but it still keeps going. And that must mean that this animation complete is sending back true, which would call this not to break, and so it would increment the sequence index. But yeah, I don't know. Another problem is, why does it keep running even after this play exception? Oh, well, it's still all the same frame, that's why. Okay, so let's look. Script manager. So the outstanding coroutine requests. Yeah, so it only adds it if it's not in the logging mode. Oops, sorry. And that's supposed to be that's correct. But that means that this is wait complete. Oh. Yeah, I actually don't have an error, so... Yeah, so that's not an issue. Okay, so everything is... Yeah, I was reading this function when I meant to read this one, and so yeah. Obviously, if there's nothing in here, then it just returns true because it's supposed to be done. So what I need to do is somehow fill up this outstanding request. I guess one easy way would be just to, when it enters the execution phase, that it would just look through this stored animation sequence and fill this out. That feels a bit hacky. I think a better way might be to have a separate function that actually takes care of this outstanding request. That's decoupled from the script manager because it's not really part of the script manager now that I think about it. Let's call this playing animations. I don't need a capital L there. And so I just want to take this variable out, and I guess it will need some kind of command to both register our outstanding requests and then listen for when one's complete. Oh, that shouldn't be too hard to do. I guess I'll just copy. Oh, it won't need to go down that far. Yeah, down to here. It won't need this because I don't want it to have anything to do with the Lua system. Animation commander, no, won't need that. No, won't need that. That would be part of the script. So basically it just needs this because this is the This keeps track of the animations that are currently playing. Doesn't care about that either. It will. Yeah, and this will be the new claimant of this query. And also it will subscribe to this. And then I need to have one more for to register a new weight. Sub to message. So animation, weight, handle, register on weight. Oh, okay, let's keep this consistent. So on animation, registered. Okay, again a command so that it can only be one subscriber to this. Okay, so I don't need this function. I do need this. I don't need that. I do need this. Don't need any of this. Yeah, so this class is pretty simple, but that's okay. And all I have to do here is, I guess I'll check to make sure that outstanding doesn't contain this already. Then I would throw another argument exception. Don't need to throw it twice. Animation. Already registered. That doesn't make much sense. Let's call it animation weight already registered. Okay, so if everything's okay, then we would just add it to this hash. Okay, so really that's all we need to do here. So the script manager can just take out some of this code, and instead of claiming this query, it will actually need to use this query. Okay, so private query handle. So it returns a boolean, it gets an integer. Just that a bit. So is animation complete? What's it complaining about? Oh, yeah, we don't need this anymore. And it needs to also have the message to register a new weight. So private message. So set animation weight. Play, and then what was this? It was register. Yeah, there we go. So this will still handle the request ready for the asynchronous handler. And it won't have this at all, actually. Well, this already registers a bunch of things, so I guess I'll go ahead and have it register the playing animations class. Okay, and so, yeah, get rid of that function, and then we just call... Okay, that playing animation doesn't need this controller, actually. So maybe I shouldn't do that here. Anyway, we'll call the is animation complete. And yeah, I don't need this. don't need that. I'll just clean up this code while we're in here. I can get rid of this entire hash. So here I would just call, what did I call it? Register. Yeah, set animation weight. And I think I took care of everything in here. Okay, so let's go to the play subcontroller and just create this new class in there. I always forget to do that, so while I'm thinking about it. New animations. Playing animations. Okay, so now the execution manager. I guess basically at the very beginning it can go ahead and register everything that needs to play. Yeah, so I think that's the way to go. Oh, put that in the wrong spot. This should go there. And then I need to get the, yeah, this line. Okay, so yeah, right here when this sequence gets set up, we would just go ahead and call set animation weight for everything in the animation sequence. So if I equals 0, I less than animations count. If, okay, let's go ahead and grab the variable. If animation is a weight type, well, no, it need to be, yeah, it would throw an error. It needs to be any kind of animation that has a weight command attached to it, so yeah, let's just go with a switch. Yeah, so right now I just move and rotation. And the index is actually the weight index, so that's out. I mean, that works out fine. And we can test that because here, animation, yeah. Wait, trying to find a move or rotate. Oh, but it's compiling, so it's not gonna let me scroll. Okay, yeah, here, animation move. Yeah, so the 3 is the weight handle. The other thing we could do, instead of just doing this here, is we could, when we actually play the animation, we could do it, but I guess it doesn't make much difference. Okay, so I think that takes care of that issue. I'm going to make sure that my code I just added doesn't break anything by just uncommenting this, and so right when we play the game, it'll play this simple little animation. And if it works in sequence, then we know that the coroutine system is still working at least. Oh, something broke right away. Already claimed exception. Oh, I probably forgot to set a message archetype. Yeah. So this should be... And let me make sure I did commands there and also in the script manager. All right. I have those errors just to help me try to keep my code clean. And I think it's done a pretty good job so far. Even though it's a little bit of busy work sometimes. Okay, so now it is playing, and it does wait for the movement to stop before doing anything else, so Good, coroutine system still works. Now I'll comment this back out. I don't need to do that. And try to see if it works with actions. Now it will throw an error because again I haven't implemented set facing, but it should at least play up until the set facing command. Okay, so it's... Oh, the other monster moved first. Oh, I missed it. Okay, let's try again. I guess the player 2 monster is faster, so that's why it moved first. Actually, they're both egg dinos, so they should be tied, but... I guess... Oh, I can see both of them. Yeah, so it moves down there. Okay, now it was going to set facing, but that doesn't exist yet. Okay, but since it waited until the move was done to throw that error, we know that the wait system is working now. So good. Alright, so now I need to do the play set facing executor, which is going to be very, very simple. Set facing executor. And I'm going to copy the move executor because it's going to... Oops, I didn't mean to select all that. It'll be almost exactly the same, except we'll move out anything that changes position to changing rotation. Okay, so here we'll set UX rotation. Let's rename that actually so that I don't have to retype this. And this will be a set rotation command. Okay, so the monster, and then do I send a... Forget what this value is. Okay, it's a float, so I guess I go by the angle. So... Okay, well, that's not difficult to do. So hex position, we'd want to get the neighbor angle from the action target index. Because the target index and facing commands actually has the facing direction. And so this changes from like a cardinal direction, which for hexagons is northeast, east, southeast, etc., to the actual angle and radians, and that's what we send to this command. Oh yeah, so this is actually really simple. And now I just need to create both the conversion here to the save file version and then also the loading executor. So first of all, okay, save object converters. Okay, so I don't actually need to change this. This is already set up. It doesn't care about the type really. It just converts back and forth. But I do need to create the play action or this counterpart for rotation. So let's do that. Set facing action executor. I think I deleted the dot for the .cs, so yeah, now it's executor CS, but it's not difficult to change. That's fine. Oh, can't type. There we go. And again, I think I'll just copy this. Okay, so this will be set facing action. So let's change this to hex position, neighbor. Just so we'll have a better debug log right there. Okay, and this will be hex position, neighbor, new facing. Oh yeah. So very simple. Okay, so I need to create this object somewhere. Play move executor. Wait, what's going on here? Oh, I see. So the play move executor actually creates it itself. So I should change that for the play set facing. This should be set facing action executor, and then it's also created in the action simulator, which is in the loading phase of the game. Okay, and this will just be move set. Oh wait, not move, just set facing. And then of course, I need to find where this object is created, and that is at the action executor. Could probably have this work a little easier with our component system, but I mean, this is already pretty simple, so. So, are we good? I think that might be all I have to do. Nope, something else. Okay, so it wants to get a reference to the game, but it's right there. What's... Oh. I don't have... This doesn't implement the I action executor. That's what it's complaining about. I think that will satisfy it. Once it's done compiling, we'll see. Okay, so I think we're good to go. Let's try it out. And move here. I want to make sure I can see both of them. That's going to move. Okay, I know this one. Interesting. So now there's an error. Let's see what that is. But it looked like everything worked fine. So the asynchronous request handler attempt to call a nil value. Where does that happen? Okay, so an after turn effect. Ability scripts, line 192. Let's look at that. What? Is this a function call? Oh, 197. Okay, so for some reason monster is... Oh, okay, so this board position doesn't work anymore. I changed this. So it should be position utils dot create board position. Then it tries to do a movement. That was just a test thing. Let's see if it will run. Okay, so one thing is I'm not sure why it's doing a jump command. This one worked fine. It rotated. Okay, and now it's back to the pick turn. So we actually successfully did a turn. Okay, so let's watch. So yeah, it rotates and then it jumps. I don't know why it's jumping, because it's supposed to be if they're direct neighbors, they're supposed to walk. But apparently that doesn't work here either, so at least we know it's not specifically this monster's fault. Maybe it only works if I move east. Nope, that's not it either. I thought that this one walked across, but... Okay, so obviously some code somewhere. But the animation system is working great. So I think we're done with that. And we did the after turn effects as well. Okay, so that's just some more locks I want to add. But let's try to fix up the script first. Here, so what's supposed to happen, oops, sorry, is it does rotate fine. But if the neighbors and they're the same layer, then it's supposed to just walk across. But that's not actually what happens. So either our neighbors doesn't work or... Well, no, this layer's got to be fine, so... Yeah, our neighbors must be wrong. Let's look at that. Okay, that's in position utilities. So I check if the distance between both of them are 1. Or the distance between both of them is 1. Which, that should work. Maybe distance function's messed up. And what it does here is it just takes the average, or the difference between the columns, rows, and the sum coordinates of the hexagon and divides by 2. Which is exactly what our helper here. Yeah, this great website is really helpful for hexagon grids, and they have... It has... I copied the distance function in here. Yeah, with axial coordinates, it's just... Yeah, the column, difference between the columns, the difference between the row. Oh, minus the columns. Oh, this is the sum. And the distance between the row. One confusing thing about hexagon coordinates is that, like, there's 3 axes, so technically any hexagon could be 3. Oh, hi, Dr. Argus. What are the Lewis scripts for? Yeah, the Lewis scripts are modding. We're going to basically all the mods will be written in Lua, because in Unity you can't load a C# script at runtime. So, but that's fine with me because I actually really like Lua. But yeah, that's why we're using both languages here. But yeah, for now I'm mostly using Lua to, yeah, like you said, playing the game through it, the paces to find bugs. But thanks for stopping by. But as I was saying, so yeah, there's 3 different coordinates for a hexagon, but you can actually get by with just using 2 of them. So, because if you notice, this green coordinate, for example, is always the sum of the other 2, or the opposite of the sum of the other 2, because they all have to add up to 0. So that's what I mean when I say sum coordinate. And that's what this is right here. So I think the distance is fine. But I mean, obviously something's wrong. I guess let's do some debugging here. I guess the start and the target could be messed up. Oh, that's not what I want to do. Let's just call distance. Target. And in Lua, this double dot is the string addition or concatenation to be technical. That's what this operator does. It just adds the two strings together. Yeah, so let's see what this returns. Because I'm guessing that either the distance or our neighbors is messed up. There's also... I also know that the game, like the animations still have our test kind of wonky state in it. Let me see. Did I delete it already? Yeah, so this actually not needed anymore, so I think I'll go ahead and delete it. To jump. What? Oh, yeah, this is confusing. I've messed up my animations a lot of times because of it. Even if you right click on test and say delete, it's going to try to delete this jump variable. So you have to make sure that the one you want to delete is actually highlighted. It's kind of confusing, but I'm glad that they added that warning right there. Okay, so I just need to change this to idle. Okay, and we'll go ahead and recompile everything. Or yeah, recompile the asset bundles so that finally our lizards will animate correctly again. Hopefully it won't take too long. Yeah, Unity doesn't actually tell you when it's done usually, so that's why I'm clicking every once in a while to see if it's responding. Okay, there it goes. Should be almost done. Okay, yeah, and I don't know what these errors are talking about. The asset bundles have been a little buggy ever since the latest Unity version. I don't know if it's something I've done, but they still, everything still works fine, but they spit out these errors every time, so not really too sure. Okay, so I'll open up this folder. And the reason I'm using this system is because we can basically, the mod authors can use Unity as their mod editor using these asset bundles. And it just makes it really easy to compile really anything that Unity can handle into a mod. Otherwise I'd have to write my own like model importers and they probably wouldn't be feature complete, so I just think using the asset bundles is a win-win. But anyway, so if I play... Okay, good. So the animation is how it's supposed to look now, instead of him having frozen feet. And let's... So when I moved here the first time, he did actually just walk across instead of jumping. So I wonder if I do that. Oh, now it's got an error. Attempt to concatenate a user data value. Okay, so it doesn't like that. I guess I have to manually call toString. I always forget. Like the way that Lua does string format is different, otherwise I'd use that, but... Okay, so let's try this one more time. I want to angle the camera so I can see both. Okay, so it's rotating around and it's jumping, even though they're neighbors, but then this one just walks across, so... Okay, let's... If I collapse this... Oh, that wouldn't work anyway because the frame stamps are different. Wait. Okay, so here it's setting and then it goes to a move. Oh, well, I was gonna see if it was an arc or a straight line, but I forgot they're both just a move type, so that wouldn't actually show in here. Does it show in the debug? Oh, because it's cleared. Okay, it's gonna be really hard to see the Lua debugs I added because the animation system's spamming out the debug log. Okay, so let's close some of this stuff. And then I think I'll just comment this log out for now. Because that system's working fine and I want to be able to see the Lua debug logs I added. What's this warning? The battle is never used. Oh, right, because before we just needed it to be able to get the block position, but we don't have to do that now. Okay. Although it's gonna have to recompile again, I should have waited. Okay, now it's done. Okay, so again, I'll just try and move him again. Let's look. Let me pause it. Okay, so it's loading. I need to go down until it's executing the Lua functions. Move, get targets. Okay. Sort players. That's fine. Okay, so here it's saying that 5, 5, 2, and 6, 5, 2 is 9 apart. And 1, 1, 2, and 2, 1, 2 is 1 apart. So why is this one so different? 5, 5, 2, and 6, 5, 2 is 9 apart. Because it should just be 1. Okay, so let's figure out the sum coordinates. So it'd be the column and the row. So this is 5, 5, negative 10. If you have the 3 coordinate hexagon system. And then this is 6, 5, negative 11. That means that, yeah, there's 2 differences. The 5 and the 6, and then the 10 and the negative 11. But for some reason it's saying it's 9 apart. So yeah, something is wrong with my values. Something's wrong with this. Oh, I added the sums. Why did I do that? Okay, that was a silly mistake. I guess that's what this testing is for, to try to figure it out. Anyway, so now everything should work fine, hopefully. And that also explains why just a few places worked. Yeah, so now he's not jumping because they're always neighbors. Okay. So now besides the bad walking animation, everything looks fine. Or I guess it is bad, but unfinished. Okay. So I guess now I need to make it so that we can actually move to a something that's longer than just one distance away. That would be here. Right now I have like a bunch of different scripts. Like when I was testing our pathfinding, I made a bunch of different move functions, but they're not actually used right now. So I think right now they get targets for move. All it does is just get horizontal neighbors. But what it should actually do, yeah, is search a certain distance away. So I'll go ahead and implement that. Okay, so let's just go with 2, distance of 2 away. And what this does, it just adds a pathfinding request, and we use the coroutine system to wait until it's done. And then we store the results in this memory table, which is passed forward to get targets later, so we don't have to calculate this again. And then we return. We're trying to figure out if the build is usable, so we return if there's at least one path. And then here, yeah, we did the get horizontal neighbors, but I don't really have to do that anymore. Yeah, so I can pretty much just use this code. And yeah, this is the same. Although, yeah, we don't... Yeah, the position is not... Oh no, it is giving us, so it's the ending node. That's fine. I think... Well, this code is still usable, but I don't really want to just delete it. I'll just comment it out, I guess. Okay. So let's... Hopefully I didn't make a mistake there. I did make a mistake. Object must be activated. Oh, I didn't make a mistake, it's just I'm trying to use the pathfinding system, which apparently has a bug in it. I don't know. On local error. So it's trying to load, or it's trying to send a mod load exception, but apparently... Okay, so apparently the mod loading errors are messed up. Let's see. Object must be activated. Game logic loading. Game, I'm trying to see like what is controlling this message. Oh, the asset organizer, okay. At 3:39. $3:39. So yeah, load exception. I don't know why it wouldn't have been activated. Oh, it probably got deactivated because it's trying to move out of the scene. I don't know, that's a weird thing. Okay, well I want to work on... We can try and fix that later. Let me write a note. Something weird going on with mod loading exceptions in the asset organizer. Yeah, but I want to work on animations now, so we can fix that later. And at least we can still see what the actual error was, which is up here. No function registered to ability usable with tag A star move. So I'm surprised that it's worrying about that, because I didn't think anything still referenced that function or that ability. But I guess one of the monsters still has it. Oh yeah, this gold and silver monster, which they don't even exist. Yeah, they shouldn't even load. Maybe Egg Dino has it? No, it just has the move. So where is that? So where are these functions? Are these abilities still being referenced is what I'm trying to figure out. Because the monster prototypes, these don't load anymore, I don't think. Okay, let me see. Oh, didn't need it to autocomplete that for me. I don't think this code should run. But apparently it is, I guess. Okay, so file, save all. I always forget that keybind because for some reason it's different there than it is in Visual Studio to save all documents. Okay, so still getting no function registered. Okay, so that did not fix it. Okay, table of contents doesn't reference it at all. Map generation, no. Egg dino. Ability scripts, I commented it out. Oh, here in the abilities. Yeah, so I don't want... Yeah, of course that makes sense. I forgot that there was an ability data file. That's because at some point the abilities will have icons and graphics associated with them, probably. Hey Mimran, good to see you. How are you doing today? Alright, so... Okay, so we can move two that way, but... I don't know why it's not giving me these two. Oh, good to hear that you're doing fine. Yeah, me too. Got a lot done tonight, so I'm pretty happy with that. Well, I guess let's just test this position. I don't really know why. Maybe the A star function only tests in a straight line, which is kind of weird, but maybe that's just how I set it up. So facing utilities towards angle. Okay, so I didn't test if target was null. So, yeah, if target is null, then of course we'll have to throw an error, so target must not be nil. And of course that's what Lua calls null values as nil. And same with this. I guess I should actually put this in almost all of these functions. Oh, sorry, I don't know why that was so loud. I guess those are the only two. Towards. Okay. But I guess another question is, why is target nil? Okay, yeah, we've got too many scripts open, so let's close others. I guess I don't need this anymore, so I'll comment it out. So, yeah, it would have been this towards angle. Yeah, towards angle. So target is nil. Did I not set the memory position? I did right there. Oh. Yeah, I set the path. Yeah, we don't need the whole path. We just need the final position. So this would be path ending node. Oh. It's not letting me just get the ending node. There we go. Okay, yeah, so I was looking at this. I saw that we had ending node, but I actually needed to store it here in the memory. And this memory object is passed to this function. Through there. Okay, so I think that was the issue. We could also, like another option, is right now they just kind of jump towards the final path instead of like walking along it. And I guess it just kind of depends what style you want. Because we could obviously have it if we picked a path like that he could walk here and then walk there. But I want to try out this jumping just so that there's differences. Oh. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Spelled it ending node instead of ending node. There. It's only another bad thing about Lua is that it doesn't have compile time errors. Okay, so again, I'll just move out there because apparently this A star function only moves vertically. I need to test it out. Okay, but he's actually jumping because it's 2 distance. Okay, so that's correct. Yeah, so I got all subpaths. This is fine. Okay, so let's look at the pathfinding and... Oh, it's using simple pathfinding? Which is, Wait, is this true? Okay, so what's wrong with this? I guess get horizontal neighbors must be broken. Yeah, because this should get neighbors in every direction, but it doesn't. It only gets it east and west. Let's check that out. So here and board position. And I wonder if I should change get horizontal neighbors to be in the position utilities. I don't know. This looks like it's fine. Okay, so if valid block position above. Why would I do that? Oh, because it's checking, okay, it's my own above and below position. I see now. Not My neighbors above and below, okay. Okay, get costs. Yeah, here it actually checks about the stone, but what about this is valid block? So it checks if the neighbor isn't bored. And the neighbor is empty, and then it looks below, and it checks that below's in the board, and it's not empty. Okay, I almost missed that. That's why I like to do equals false. Okay, I'd like to fix this, but we might have to take a deep look into the pathfinding system. I wonder if it's because something's wrong with the stone, specifically. Because there's no way... Okay, I think what I'll do is I'll move one of these monsters to spawn on the row below them so it's standing on stone. And maybe that is the issue. Okay, that is set in code. Okay, so this one I'll just start on the third row. Alright, and then move there and... Okay, so yeah, somehow it's gotten encoded that it can't step on stone. Oh, because the cost of stone is 3. Okay, so yeah, it's just doing its job. Yeah. Yeah, so it's jumping there, and then since this one is 1 distance, it should just walk, which it does. Okay, so yeah, of course, it's doing its job. So because here stone is 3, so and we only have a move distance of 2, so it will never be able to move to on top of any stone. So let's change this to, I don't know, 1.5, so it's not quite as debilitating. Okay, now it can move on some stone, but not all the way. I just want to test one thing. I want to see what happens when I try to step up a layer. It should jump up here even though it's a neighbor. Okay, so here, let's move right there, and oh, it won't even let me move up a layer right now. Yeah, because a simple pathfinding doesn't move up layers. Okay, let's try and fix that real quick. That's because if we move above, it'd never be a valid block because below it would be air. Yeah, so I think this is actually kind of useless. So let's do else if, or how does Lua do it? Is it, I think it's just else if is valid block neighbor above, then we'll insert that. They will still check for distance, or they get cost. So I guess we should also check layers here, but I'm not going to do it right now. So neighbor dot above, and then we'll check below as well. And then of course we only will, oh, I just retyped. And one thing about this is that we can't move more than 1 layer at a time, which I guess is okay for now. Oh. Unexpected symbol near end of file. Okay, I probably forgot. Okay, I'm probably not doing else if correctly. Let me look it up. Every programming language has a different way it does else if, it seems like. Some programming languages do it all one word, some do ELSIF. Okay, yeah, and Lua does it all one word. Okay. Some do it separate like this. Okay, so now it loaded. Okay, I can get right there, and the next turn it should let me move up one layer. Actually, I should be able to move up there because it can go like that as a pathfinding system. Oh, I guess it's not enough length, but I just want to move one layer. Okay, and it does jump because they're different layers, so that works fine. Okay, cool. So I think that is pretty much all done. We just need to make better animations, obviously. Alright, well I guess I better wrap up now. Been streaming for just over 2 hours and it's time for me to go. But we made really good progress today. Finished all this and now just have a little bit more extra, I guess, what's the word, extra ways to use the system. I'd like to be able to do an animation lock based on the actual animation that's playing, kind of like how I did the movement so that the movement's synchronized to an animation. And then I'd like to do an animation lock using Lua or Unity's animator callbacks. So if we look in here, oh, that's not what I want. I want the animation window. You can double click here, or I guess right click and say add animation event. And I'd like to have a function here that you can actually call back to the Lua system and say, okay, we're done waiting. And then the last one is just a simple timer, so none of those should be that difficult, so I'm hoping to get them done tomorrow. And I was worried about this a couple days ago about how the system would work if you crashed, but thinking about it, I don't think that there's ever a way that the player can not have the animation sequence while the server still does, so yeah, I guess I'll look into this, but I don't know if I'll need to do anything about it. And then next, we'll work on some more graphical stuff for the egg dino. We need to do better animations, fix up the colors and texture, and then shaders, and then we'll probably jump into sound, which should be fun. But yeah, I think that's all for me for tonight. Thanks everybody for coming by and chatting. I hope that there's a marked difference with my new mic and the webcam. I think it should be a lot better for the stream in the long run, so I guess I'll just do my standard outro. I should go live tomorrow by about 8:30 Eastern. If you'd like to be notified when I go live, you can follow me here on Twitch or also on Twitter. I always post. I have a YouTube channel where I post all my old streams if you missed any and you'd like to catch up. And finally, I have a Discord server. We'd love to have you there to chat. I'm usually there almost all day, except when I'm working, so I might not reply immediately, but yeah, I think that's about it. I'll put links in chat, and also you can check out my video descriptions if you want links that way. And that's it for me for tonight. I hope you all have a great night, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.